Start your engines.
Hi, I'm Nicky Horn, and welcome to the second volume of Nigel Mansell's IndyCar Diary. Over the next 90 minutes, we'll pick up Nigel's IndyCar career from where we left in Volume 1. First of all, we feature Nigel's magnificent placing at Indianapolis, a race that earned him a brace of accolades the world over. Only 7 days later, it was north to Milwaukee in Wisconsin. Another race, another oval, but this time a tight 1 mile circuit with 4 turns banked at 9 degrees. And again the result would bring celebration. Another 7 days and we cross Illinois to round 6 at Belle Isle Park in Detroit. Motor City hosting an incident-packed and controversial race. Nigel Mansell in the thick of the action throughout. He'd qualified fastest of all and claimed pole position, but things didn't go exactly to plan.
Nothing overtook me on the yellow. You have reported it, Nigel. Yeah, not only that. He's giving me a puncher. I'm coming in, I got a puncher.
Pit road graffiti tells the tale. Red 5 hit the barrier with 9 laps to go, and the championship race closed up again. Then we head back home to England to receive the Seagrave Trophy for winning the Formula One Championship in 1992. Also in this video, has Nigel finally met his match? And we put Nigel to the test in a different Red 5 down in Dartmouth. Dr. Mansell, I presume. Birmingham University awards him an honorary doctorate in engineering in recognition of his achievements in motorsports. And in this racing life, it's back to work. Portland, Oregon, in the shadow of Mount Hood. Another race, another pole position, after an exciting joust with Emerson Fittipaldi. We'll also put you in the driving seat, onboard cameras, how the pictures are transmitted from car to screen, with a close-up cockpit view of the Portland race. That's Indianapolis, Milwaukee, Detroit and Portland, all in the next 90 minutes.
Here we are at Milwaukee, my second oval race. I think it's going to be very interesting. A lot of contrast from the super speedway of Indianapolis. But before we have the second race here, here's a look back at the intriguing, very exciting, very fast Indianapolis 500.
The Indy 500, the most famous race in the world and the one every driver wants to win. For IndyCar rookie Nigel Mansell, it was a baptism of fire. A record-breaking race with more leader changes than at any time in IndyCar history. It lacked any real pattern in its early stages. Indeed, Dutchman Arie Luyendyk, holder of pole position, was overtaken at the green flag by Mansell. By the 50th lap mark, Nigel Mansell, sandwiched between Fittipaldi and Andretti, was in third place and ready to make his presence felt.
On board with Nigel Mansell, Fittipaldi may drop off of this battle. He currently runs in fourth, but he is due to pit on the next lap. He last pitted on lap 16. That's the same lap that everybody at the front stopped on. So one would assume that there goes Nigel. He moves to the inside as they come across the line. And can he hold the line down to the inside? He does. And Nigel Mansell takes over second place from his teammate.
We can tell each lap, each turn, he's getting more confident.
At the front of the field, it's now Laurie Lyondike, but perhaps not for long as Nigel Mansell sweeps around, and Nigel Mansell, the rookie, he's the reigning world champion, is in the lead, Bobby.
Paul, you have to notice that was a pass on the outside. Nobody has told Nigel Mansell that you can't pass out there, especially when the racetrack is slippery. That was a fantastic pass.
Nigel Mansell is capable of doing a lot of passes that some others may not.
That typically audacious piece of driving kept Mansell in the lead, give or take the odd pit stop, for over 30 laps. Then, disaster.
He missed his pit, guys. He missed his pit.
Overshooting that stop cost Nigel a crucial 40 seconds, and he fell down the leaderboard. But he's not the reigning Formula One champion for nothing, and by the closing stages, Nigel had fought back into contention and was ready to make his move.
At the top of the field now on that maneuver, Mansell moves toward the front on the official scoring. On board now with Mansell. Fittipaldi to second. Lyondike third. Mario fourth and Scott Brayton fifth.
A rookie leads the Indy 500 under green deep in the race.
Back in the lead then, but Nigel's progress was halted by Linson James' technical breakdown, a yellow flag and a crucial loss of momentum. It must be remembered that Mansell, the race leader, is also Mansell, the rookie, and there was a couple of old hands lying in wait for the freshman.
It's up to the drivers.
It's out of everyone's hands but these six. Notice Raul is now up into fourth place. And here they come. The green flag flies. And Fittipaldi trying to catch position on Mansell. Is this inexperience for Mansell, giving it over to Fittipaldi? And look at Lyondike as he moves to second place.
Desperate pass by Ari Lyondike, a very good pass. Really got Mansell asleep on that one. Boy, and Fittipaldi run through here. Turn two wide open, Paul.
That was an inexperienced move by Mansell. He should have gotten on the throttle sooner. If it had been Fittipaldi or Little Al, you can bet they would have.
Mansell's second disastrous mistake, and he made a third, clipping the circuit wall with just 8 laps to go. But Nigel survived and held on to third place. So a case of what might have been. Emerson Fittipaldi took the checkered flag for the second time at Indianapolis, while Nigel was left to ponder his mistakes in a race he could have won.
We're still leading in the championship.
Well, looking back at the Indianapolis 500, what a fantastic race it was. I think there were 16 different race leaders, and then we thought we had it, of course, didn't we? I mean, the last 15 laps were great until that yellow flag came out, and then, of course, that restart. Emma and Ari, what a fantastic jump they got on me, and unfortunately, we didn't have enough to get back. But I think you'll all agree, one of the best races and most exciting races of my career today.
And hopefully another one to come, although Nigel faces an uphill struggle. After Indianapolis, Nigel still leads the championship 13 points ahead of Andretti, with Fittipaldi and Lyondike equal third on 37 points. Ahead of Nigel was his first small oval. It's sometimes easy to forget that the reigning world champion is still a rookie at this game.
There's been 4 quite significant accidents. There's one just culminated in someone doing a smaller Phoenix, punching a hole in the wall. Practice has been curtailed. We've probably got about an hour's delay while they put the steel plates on the wall. The track conditions, from what I can see, are not very good. It's very, very cold. It's a little bit breezy, and I think now we're getting it late into the afternoon. There can be some dew coming out the ground. Driving conditions, I'd say, fairly perilous this afternoon, so all I'm going to do is frequent myself with the place and just drive nice and steady and not try and go too quick.
Red 5 was rolled out of the garage up Milwaukee for the first time on what was a cold day. The car's wrapped for security to protect vital setup secrets from prying eyes. The drivers feeling the chill. Official practice wouldn't begin until the following day. Thursday gave the drivers a chance to familiarize themselves with the circuits. Paul Tracy, the 23-year-old Canadian, had crashed out of several races prior to Milwaukee. This weekend he's looking to answer his critics and his fans. Nigel fitted an electronic demister visor to his helmet. Steaming up is often a problem in cold temperatures. Nigel took to the track for the first time, closely followed by his teammate Mario Andretti. And then Mario and Nigel returned to the pit after some exploratory laps on this bumpy circuit. Some aerodynamic changes were made by the engineers, as Nigel discussed the car's performance with race engineer Peter Gibbons. The session, though, was soon aborted after rain swept across Milwaukee. On an oval, the cars aren't permitted to run when the track is even slightly damp. On Friday, the weather greatly improved, although it was still chilly, and there was every prospect of a full day's practice. Impressively, Nigel recorded the third fastest time of the day behind teammate Mario and Emerson Fittipaldi. The time, 22.716 seconds. Since his back operation, Nigel has had some difficulty in getting in and out of the Lola cockpit. His back doesn't appear to have affected his performance in the car. Carl Haas confident of a successful day at the races.
Well, here we are. We've just concluded the first day. It's Friday, the 4th of June here at Milwaukee. What can I say except incredible short oval. I mean, it's a mile long. It feels it's only half a mile long. The corners are just incredible. Very bumpy in turns 3 and 4, and turn 1 and 2 tightens up really quite a lot. You're going very, very quickly indeed, and it's a very challenging oval. My thoughts for the weekend so far is, well, we're competitive. We're a bit slower than the Penske. Emerson is literally flying at the moment, but I'm right there. We're 3 or 4 tenths slower, but hopefully we can improve on that tomorrow. The weather, very, very cold, and that's going to play a big part on the qualifying tomorrow and getting the car up to speed.
On Saturday, Nigel met up with some familiar ex-Formula One colleagues, 2 engine technicians from Williams-Renault. Then, to the day's business. The session went reasonably well for Nigel. The weather was a good deal warmer, changing track conditions considerably. Adjustments made to the aerodynamics of Red 5 were helping improve lap times. By far the most important factor, though, was the choice of tyres. Critical in any race, but especially here on a tight, bumpy oval. Nigel's tyre specialist is Tim Dog Homburg. It's his job to monitor the performance of each set of tyres.
This track is the hardest track we race at on the tires. It's very abrasive, and the tires will wear out very quickly. So the key is to not wear out your tires in practice and save some good tires for the race. It's partially the bumps, and it's the track surface itself. It's like sandpaper. It's very, very abrasive. For all the races other than Indy and Michigan, you're only allowed to have 7 sets of tires for the whole weekend. That's all you can get, so you have to juggle around a little bit. So we try and run the ones in practice a little more maybe than we'd like to, but then by doing that we can save some sets, keep some real fresh, low mileage sets for the race. Qualifying, we try and pick out one special set for qualifying. With the tire stagger, we usually go for the biggest tire stagger we can find, which will help the car. This track is very flat, not much banking in the corners. So you need more stagger to help the car turn around the corner. So we try and pick out the set with the biggest stagger for qualifying.
Nigel, after a lunchtime briefing with the team, went out for a final practice before qualifying. He went out to record a lap time of 22.227 seconds, second fastest behind Brazilian Mansell, with time to spare for some fun and games with Peter Gibbons and Carl Haas.
That's my payroll.
It had been a disappointing week thus far for Robbie Gordon. He was only 12th fastest. Prior to qualifying, Nigel had time for some personal customization to his helmet. Here are two of Nigel's biggest fans, Roseanne Mansell and Paul Newman. Nigel's daughter Chloe had slipped on some tyres and sprained her knee. Her leg was patched up by Indycar doctor Terry Trammell, who had operated on her father's back earlier in the season.
The back of a leg in plaster. Oh, she's got a plaster cast on the back.
I don't know. She was limping around yesterday.
Race day, a record crowd who couldn't resist the opportunity of seeing the world champion in action. Amongst the busy race day carnival, time was precious and well employed on last-minute tuning. Milwaukee is the home of Harley-Davidson motorcycles, and the Milwaukee Mile is the second oldest circuit on the IndyCar calendar. It's in fact owned by Carl Haas. Prior to the race, Nigel had a chance to chat with his fellow drivers. Here's Al Unser Jr. and Bobby Rahal.
Right down the road.
Indy 500 winner and former Formula One champion Emerson Fittipaldi. And former Indy 500 legend AJ Foyt.
Have a good one. You too.
Introductions over, the talking all done. It's time to go racing. Nigel settled into his office for his weekend's work, standing by for the famous command.
Gentlemen, start your engines!
Well, now a chance to acquaint ourselves with Nigel's colleagues, the familiar and the not-so-well-known. This is the lineup of the Miller Genuine Draft 200 at Milwaukee. Pole position and a track record to Roll Mansell. Fellow Brazilian Emerson Fittipaldi sharing the front row. Canadian Scott Goodyear on row 2 once again. Alongside him, fellow countryman Paul Tracy in his Penske number 12. Newman Haas elder statesman Mario Andretti inside row 3. Scott Brayton's Lola Ford outside row 3. There's a rookie in red 5 on row 4. Robbie Gordon catching up alongside Nigel. Reigning IndyCar champion Bobby Rahal outside 5. Inside row 5, Colombian-born Roberto Guerrero. Sweden's Stefan Johansson, row 6. Mexican Adrian Fernandez outside row 6. Jimmy Vasser, who finished third at Phoenix, starts at row 7. Little Teo Fabi by Vasser's side. Olivia Griard on row 8. Mike Groff in a Rahal Hogan Chevy outside 8. Danny Sullivan looking for a change in his season's luck back on row 9, alongside last year's Indy 500 champion Little Al. Dave Coudrave, row 10. Buddy Lazier outside 10. Willie T. Ribbs inside 11. Harry Leindyke by his side. Ross Bentley, row 12, with Japan's Hiro Matsushita. The rear guard, Robbie Buell, row 13. After a delay in the rolling start by an initial yellow, the race got underway.
It's a green one, and there's the start of the race. 200 miles, 320 kilometers here in the Milwaukee Mile.
Raoul Boesel in the lead from Emerson Fittipaldi, Scott Goodyear third, Robbie Gordon up to fourth. The early pace was frantic. Mansell stayed calm in the midfield, the car running well as the race developed. Experience tells that races are never won in the opening few laps, but they can be lost. 9th place Stefan Johansson hit the wall at turn 2 on lap 7.
Yellow. Stay out. Stay out. How's the car feel? It's not too bad. I'm not pushing it at the moment. There's no point. So I'm just hanging in there.
Green signaled the race back on. Boesel still first with Fittipaldi second. Mansell working hard in the pack. Ahead of him, teammate Mario Andretti. The two Newman-Haas cars evenly matched as usual, but eventually Nigel surged past on the outside to take 6th place.
Making the pass, and he takes the position away. Mansell is now in 6th place.
There you see the view from the back of Nigel Mansell's car. Able to pull out a bit of a gap too over Mario Andretti down the backstretch.
And not only did he take the position, he's now pulling away from him. These are identical cars with a Ford Cosworth engine and the Lola chassis. And of course, the owner of the team, Carl Haas, owns the U.S. distributorship of Lola chassis.
Not only does Carl Haas own the distributorship for Lola, he also owns it for Hewland gearboxes, which if you're going to race, almost everybody uses a Hewland gearbox. And not only that, he is the promoter of the Milwaukee Mile. So Carl Haas has got busy things on this weekend.
All roads lead to Carl Haas, whether it's Milwaukee or Chicago.
I think Carl Haas is actually in the pit lane. He's counting the audience and spectators in the stands to make sure it's full.
And of course, he just received a check earlier last week from Bobby Rahal. And now, there you go, the two Brazilians going head-to-head. Emerson Fittipaldi has closed on Boesel. Harry Leindyke looking at the leaders, look at Boesel on the left. And is that Goodyear making him pass on Emo?
All three, no, that is Matsushita.
Look at that, 3 abreast on the inside. There's Emo making the pass. Boesel on the outside, he's pinned.
Goodyear gets by Emerson Fittipaldi.
And Fittipaldi is showing his experience. Of course, he doesn't want to risk this car at this point in the race. So Goodyear has taken that position away from Emo, but Emo is still very close. And there's Robbie Gordon chasing Emerson Fittipaldi at this point.
So it's Boesel very closely followed by the number 2, Scott Goodyear. Goodyear good on the ovals, as he proved in Phoenix by getting the pole. He won the Michigan 500 and came very close to winning the Indy 500 last year.
Lap 46 produced the first change of leader, Goodyear working his way round Boesel. Paul Tracy and Penske teammate Fittipaldi 3rd and 4th, Robbie Gordon 5th, Mansell 6th, 6 seconds off the lead. First pit stop for Mansell, smoothly executed after 1 or 2 problems at Indianapolis.
No, he doesn't want to drink. Visor seems to be clean, they haven't wiped that off. Resetting his gauges. Tough thing about this track is because it's so short and so tight and so quick, you have very little time to actually take time to look at the dials and the tach and the oil and the heat, and also to take a breather.
Robbie Gordon also makes a stop. Robbie Gordon makes a stop. Mario Andretti just pulled out of the pits himself, so everybody seems to be fitting at this point.
Robbie Gordon giving his visor a good clean. cleaning out the, you see the air ducts, the side pods. You can see the mechanics putting their hands in there and pulling out any paper or garbage or waste that's got in there and blocked the airflow. The two little aerials you see on the front, one is for the radio and one is for timing and scoring.
But remember that the telemetry in these cars is only one way. That's one difference between IndyCar racing and Formula One racing. No adjustments can be sent or telegraphed to these cars from the pit. The only communication could be a voice communication.
There is onboard telemetry. What they do is they come into the pit and then they download into the computer. There you see Mike Groff in the second Rahal Hogan entry. That is the RH001 chassis making his pit stop. He's won here before in the Indy Light Series. Willie T. Ribbs, the only black driver to race at Indianapolis, being overtaken by teammate Scott Goodyear. Willie T. Ribbs is running for Walker Motorsports with some sponsor from Service Merchandise, which is a big chain over here, and also from Bill Cosby, the comedian.
Bill Cosby is a spokesperson for Service Merchandise in the U.S., and part of his contract was that they indeed, in turn, sponsor Willie T. Ribbs. Willie T. Ribbs actually was very much liked by the rest of the drivers.
He's a fun, outgoing kind of guy. He's raced in Trans Am, he's raced in IMSA, go-karts, and he's raced in single-seater before.
Goodyear's about to overtake Jimmy Vasser on the Code-Lux car, the yellow car, and right behind Goodyear is Paul Tracy. Paul Tracy might be sniffing around for a move. Both of them lapping the hapless Danny Sullivan.
Danny Sullivan having a very long day.
Now look how close Tracy comes in. Now he moves on the inside. On turn one again. But there's no space. Not yet anyway.
Goodyear goes down with him. I think we'll see Tracy do the move as they go into turn 3. He's going to do the slingshot as they come up on the Code-Lux entry of Jimmy Vasser. There he goes into 3. Can he pull it off? Not quite close enough. Stays low. Yes, he's going to be able to do it because Vasser's going to be in the way for Goodyear now.
Look at him
nice
box
move
him out.
by Tracy. He pushed him up behind Vasser, leaving him nowhere to go.
In basketball, they call that a box out, and that's exactly what he did. But Goodyear's not done. So we have a new leader, the third in this race. It's Paul Tracy, and it took a while for him anyway. Almost a little bit over 80 laps, and for him that's an inordinate amount of patience.
Well, it's not so much patience, but also getting the car to the point just where it's right. And it would appear to me that his car is set up beautifully to go through turn 3 because that's where he's made his passes. And he's going into turn 3, it would appear a lot quicker than everybody else. Here we see the move again, going down the backstretch. They get up alongside Jimmy Vasser. Tracy's already made the move down the inside. Sticks with him. And now, you watch him, he'll just push him out just a little bit to make sure there's no way he can come back in down the middle. And poor Tracy is safely through.
So Paul Tracy now takes the lead for Team Penske.
Two Canadians once again, Paul Tracy and Scott Goodyear. There's Nigel Mansell battling with Raoul Boesel.
And taking that position, he's in third now. Mansell already stepping onto the podium at this early part of the race. We're approaching the halfway mark. This is always a quick race, an accident-free race, an exciting race with a lot of strategy on passing. And it really does help to know the track and the players, and that's one advantage that Nigel Mansell really cannot enjoy at this point. He doesn't know which way they prefer to move.
And he's not totally used to all the drivers. The IndyCar Series, we don't always have the same drivers every weekend. There you see how some of the drivers we do have here, the leaderboard: Paul Tracy, Scott Goodyear, Mansell, Boesel, Fittipaldi, Gordon running in 6th, 18 seconds behind our leader after 86 of the 200 laps. With the difference here in IndyCar, it's not always the same people, so it's hard to get used to a certain driver, which you would get used to after a while in Formula One or any other series where the drivers are always the same every weekend. After 5 or 6 races, you get to know who's who.
Nigel back in for tyres and fuel, now deep into the second half of the race.
Set the meter and be ready to go.
Mansell set his sights on a big finish as Paul Tracy harboured thoughts of victory. But all those high hopes came to grief when he collided with Arie Luyendyk after a back marker had clouted the wall ahead of them. Luyendyk, second at Indy, was out, and Tracy's promising race he'd led for 33 laps came to a disappointing end.
Pit, Nigel, pit! Into the pit, coming into the pit. Just gonna top it with fuel, and we're gonna put new tires because we got about 60 laps left. Get ready, redo your meter, this will be pretty quick. Okay.
Away from the green flag with 49 laps to go, Mansell in pursuit of Mansell. A confident showing again on an oval from Nigel, chasing Mansell and gaining ground until with 19 laps left, he caught him at turn 4.
And he makes a move. He makes a move on the inside and takes first place at 181 laps. And now he's trying to pass Al Unser Jr.
That was a great move. Totally took Raul Mansell by surprise. I mean, he knew he was there and coming, but he didn't expect that move from that kind of distance.
And that sort of overtaking was what Nigel Mansell fell victim to before. He's apparently learned that lesson too. What a move.
Can he go the distance is the big question. There was talk of whether he's got enough fuel. We had a second yellow, which may have helped him. But if he does have to stop, and he is stuck in 5th gear, then he's going to have a terrible time getting out of pit lane.
He needs the big momentum, take him through the end of the race. Only a few laps left. This is the beginning of the end of this race. Now he's passing again Willie T. Ribbs. There's Boisel on the outside. The traffic lightens up at this point in the track and at this point in the race for them.
Nigel Mansell was not a happy person this morning, and he's going to be a very happy man this afternoon, I would imagine. And this would be perfect. 1963, Jimmy Clark won here in a Ford. Nigel Mansell is racing in a Ford. How about that? Coming here and trying to win on the 30th anniversary of a first Ford win. 15 laps to go. Can Nigel Mansell hang on to take his second IndyCar victory?
There's Dick Simon. Of course, disappointed.
Dick Simon said earlier that he had pulled all his hair out during the qualifying session, hoping that Raul Mansell will keep the pole position.
Well, there wasn't much to start with.
I hate to tell Dick, there wasn't any there to start with.
A highly emotional man, a man on a budget, always really has made the most of what he has, and so has Raul Boisel, representing Brazil and that Dick Simon team. But here's the leader, red 5, the Il Leone, Britannico, Nigel Mansell. What a show. The interval between them is a little bit over a second right now, and Fittipaldi is fading into the background. He's not becoming a factor.
Ray Hall currently running 4th still, and Robbie Gordon rounding out the top 5. Al Unser Jr. hanging on to 6th. Scott Brayton is 7th. Guerrero is 8th. Jimmy Vasser is 9th. And Teo Fabi, who you see right there, is currently running 10th. Big
so far
by Nigel Mansell.
And so far, Guy, no slippage problems, no loosening of the car and the suspension.
Nigel Mansell, we have a report, not on Mansell, but on Raul Boisel, that he may have to pit. Not going to be able to go the distance. He was running probably too hot and too high a boost, and he may have to either back off and try and go the distance and defend his position ahead of Emerson Fittipaldi, or he'll do a quick splash and go.
Here's the inside shot, and I'm sure that now Nigel Mansell knows that. He knows that Boisel has to stop. He knows that that's going to take him probably at least 8 seconds off the pace. So now he's got to be worrying about Emerson Fittipaldi, who's about 5 seconds behind him, and of course worry about his own situation. So he won't press that hard at this point.
With a 5-second lead over Fittipaldi, knowing that Boisel has to make a stop, he is going to be able to back off just a little and conserve some fuel. Of course, you can't short shift because they don't shift to start with.
Always taking that inside line, very conservative at this point. And here's the pass.
Nigel Mansell comes up alongside and behind Mansell. Mansell goes down in middle and thinks he's way ahead, but Nigel, coming out of the turn, closes the gap, and you'll see just suddenly zooms right by underneath him. Mansell looks like he's got a pretty good lead, thinking that Nigel may get hung up behind the other guys. Mansell drifts just a little bit wide. Nigel steals the inside line, floors it, and takes the lead.
And that was a nasty cut right in front of Mansell coming out of that corner. I think Mansell probably had to back off. There's he's signaling ahead, trying to tell Briard to move away.
To make room, I'm coming through. Just step aside or don't turn in at this point. I'm coming underneath you.
He was pointing at the flag match now. He wants the blue and yellow. That tells the driver to move on. Move aside. Of course, coming out of turn 4, getting into that straightaway, catching up to his teammate who's very much lapped. Mario Andretti, some 24 laps down.
Yeah, he's just running now, possibly for points and also for research and development.
The run to the checkered flag, though, was to be complicated by another late yellow when Robbie Gordon crashed.
Yellow, Nigel. Running pretty good. He's running pretty good. Just keep pushing the pace, guy. I think we can win this thing under the yellow. Looks like it's going to take them a long time to bring it in. I think it will.
4 laps left at the restart. Nigel desperate not to be caught out here, as he was at Indianapolis. He simply hit the accelerator and went for sheer speed. Mansell attempted to challenge, but didn't have the pace to match him, and the rest were beaten. At the finish, 4 seconds separated the top 3, but Nigel had half a second over Mansell at the checkered flag. His first oval win, and the first man to win 2 races in the series this season.
Good job, champ. Great job. Hell of a job. Woo! Yeah, didn't give me that sign on the restart. I know it. We had confidence in you. Thanks, everybody. Great job.
A splendid, decisive victory for the world champion. Consolidating his position at the top of the championship standings with 70 points, 18 ahead of Mansell and 19 ahead of Fittipaldi. With 4 successive street circuits to come next on the fixture list, a very handy position to be in. Nigel Mansell had emulated Jim Clark by winning at Milwaukee.
What a fantastic day. I mean, just unbelievable. I mean, to finish like that, winning. The crew worked so well, so hard, and the pits, we didn't miss the pit today. And at the end there with Raul Mansell fighting very hard for the lead, and then the restart again with 4 laps to go. The heart was in the mouth a little bit, but it all came out in the end, and I'm really happy, and the team, as I say, all thanks to the team.
The team packed up the pits and the paddock and loaded the transporters ready for the trek around Lake Michigan to Detroit. The Motown story next. Detroit Motown, the Motor City, venue for round 6 of the Indycar World Series. Not a million miles from the home of Carl Haas Automobile Imports Incorporated, the home of Newman Haas Racing. It's here that the Lolas are wheeled back to in between each race for vital changes to the body. Both Mario's number 6 and Nigel's Red 5 undergo great changes between Milwaukee and Detroit. A comprehensive set of spares are kept for both cars in the stores. This ensures that the car can be altered at a moment's notice. Remember, an Indy car for an oval is a very different animal than that for road racing.
It's a boy.
The Newman-Haas boys treat the cars like a member of the family. Mansell was last in Detroit in 1987, but at a different circuit downtown. Belle Isle is the first permanent road circuit in this year's series. As final preparations were being made for practicing on Friday morning, Mansell had time to contemplate his standings in the championship. After winning in Milwaukee, he has an impressive 18-point lead over Raul Mansell, quickly followed by Emerson Fittipaldi, Mario Andretti and Arie Luyendyk. That's the top 5 in the championship after 5 rounds.
Well, good morning. Here we are in Belle Isle in Detroit. Sun shines, about 80 degrees, and literally only 5 days after Milwaukee. And what a fantastic race that was. Intriguing. I think there was about 15 lead changes, and it wasn't until the last sort of 40-50 laps that I honestly thought that I'll have a chance of winning. But the team did a fantastic job, and what a result. My feelings are I'm a little bit stronger. I'm happier to be back on a normal road course where you can turn right again instead of always going left. The incredible thing here as well is that the course for the first time this year is going clockwise. It's the first course which actually goes around clockwise. All the other courses we've been on so far is anti-clockwise. So a lot of different things happening today, and I'm real comfortable with some of them, but above all there's about 20 turns out there I've got to learn this morning, and we've got about 20 minutes to go before we get in the car. So we'll see you after the first practice, and here's fingers crossed, hoping that we have a nice trouble-free run.
First practice Friday morning, and it was time to test the changes to the car that had been made in Chicago. The boys in pit row checking every moment of Nigel's action, and each time he returns to the pit, minute changes can be made to the car's setup. Equally important is the opinion of the man in the driving seat. With the tyre trouble fixed, Mansell was back out for qualifying. This time, they were out for speed, for that all-important pole position.
Which flaps do you want off?
Nigel returns to the pits. Something isn't quite right. After a hard day's qualifying, Nigel checks his times. He's still only second fastest behind Paul Tracy, with Emerson hot on his heels.
You're fast, Jim. Your watch is fast.
Well, here we are. We're at the end of the first qualifying session, and if I look tired, that's because I am tired. Circuit very, very demanding indeed, but very challenging. I had a few breathtaking moments coming out onto the main straight a couple of times when the car had too much understeer. They call it push here in America. But I mean, we almost had pole position. We were pipped just at the end by Paul Tracy and the Penske, who went very, very quickly. Yes, I'm very pleased for the first day. I've had to learn the circuit. I didn't get a perfectly clear lap when I thought my tyres were really in, courtesy of Paul. And indicative of that, I showed him what a gentleman I am on the last lap, because as he was coming around on his quickest lap, I got out the way for him, and he beat me by 0.2 of a tenth of a second. So perhaps next time I won't get out of the way.
There were no hard feelings, however, at the press conference. A sense of humour is essential when you're world champion, when you're followed by flocks of fanatics eager for your autograph, even when they're sometimes not sure of your name.
What's your name?
Nigel Mansell.
Nigel Mansell! You're my most favorite driver!
Yeah.
Can you sign this for me?
Yeah, we'll sign that.
I've got a marker for you if you like it.
Hey.
I don't think that was a foot on. I think
You take care, partner, eh?
Next day was back to business on the track for the final qualifying session. Thoughtful looks on the Newman-Haas faces. How were they going to get that all-important pole? As Nigel dons his race helmet, one thing is on his mind. Paul Tracy is in his sights. He's all revved up with one place to go. Carl Haas knows that pole is Nigel's favourite position, and Mansell knows how to get the things he likes. This is Nigel on his hot lap on the warm Detroit road. As he returns to pit lane, his time is clear for all to see. This time, there's no one in front of him. Nothing makes a team owner happier than seeing his #1 driver in #1 position. Nigel accepts the congratulations from his teammates.
Good job, Hal. Hey, go over here. Let's see what that left looks like. Yeah, right. Nice job, Nigel.
And let's not forget that pole position means more than just a pat on the back. It's another vital point in the championship.
Well done, partner.
Well done, pal. Nice going, mate.
Plus 19 in the championship.
First Ford Cosworth.
Nigel's motorhome serves as a commentary position as he talks us through his hottest lap in Detroit.
Now I'm starting to get on the gas. Through here very quick in third gear now and accelerating onto the straight. Third, fourth and fifth, and this is where we're doing about 186 miles an hour. Now we're coming across the start and finish line to take the lap. Very quick change down to third, through the right-hander, through the left. This is very, very quick indeed. On the limiter in third, sliding out, and this is a very quick right-hander too. Very close to the barrier there, changing up to fourth and now down to a second gear, left and right. Here we go through here now, getting in real tight, being very careful now. See another car in front of me. I'm a little bit worried whether he's going to get out of the way. Down to second gear and onto the back straight. Just over the curb a little bit. You can see the cars move. That's very good. Up to third, fourth, fifth, and again up to about 186 miles an hour. Braking very hard at the end of this straight and down to third, and then hugging the barrier all the way around. Going around here in third, you can see it's getting a little bit twitchy. Then down to second, up the curb a little bit, and then putting on the power, a bit of oversteer. Keeping on the throttle all the way around here, sliding all the way around, braking hard, and now turning in as quick as you can. Off the curb a little bit, very close to the wall there now. Up to third, fourth, down to third again, and you watch how close we get to the wall coming outside here now. Very, very close, and then coming out third again. Whoa, fourth, fifth, and we're just hanging on now, hoping it's a quick lap. Well, there you have it. Just finished qualifying. Very, very happy indeed. We just managed to get the third pole of the season here. New circuit, and what's even more rewarding is that the Penske was very, very quick here indeed, and Emo and Paul Tracy hit the wall in this last qualifying session trying to go quicker, so I know they're at their limit. And I wouldn't say we're not at our limit, because we are, and we're over the top, but I'm just absolutely delighted to get the next, the third pole for the Newman-Haas team. And now we've got to go to the pole award, which is a nice award to go to because they pay you. And then we've got to go to the press conference, and then of course the most important day of all is tomorrow. But we have secured one extra point for the pole position, which always helps in the championship. So let's just keep fingers crossed. The weather's going to be with us, so let's just hope the reliability stays with us and we can get a good start.
Is it an omen that the fountains of Detroit are festooned with Il Leone? Race day always brings out the Mansellettes, loyal to their hero in red 5. They'll follow him to the ends of the earth and from Formula One. In Indycar, race day is always a spectacle. As the drivers leave their final briefing, tension mounts. Mansell in jocular mood, knowing he's up front. Still pursued by people eager for the Mansell mark, Nigel is happy to oblige, but he does have a rather pressing engagement with a Lola Ford.
Thank you.
One more.
As he races to pit lane, the car sets off to join him.
Well, here we are. We're basically just 15 minutes away from the start of the race. I don't know why, but I got a good stomach ache today. I spent more time talking to the starter about the start of this race because it's paramount important and the way the regulations are for who can be in front at the start. And basically, as long as the other person's not more than a car's length in front, he can jump the start. It's one of those grey areas, unfortunately, but I'm going to try and make a good start here today, and it should be my start, being as I'm pole sitter. We've got an incredible temperature at this moment in time. I'd say it's probably upwards in the 90s. Track conditions from this morning are going to be very different. I think the cars are going to slide a lot more. We're going to have a rear tyre problem today with traction, probably a lot of wheel spin. Going to be a very, very tough race, very demanding race today, but one I'm looking forward to, and I'm just hoping that everything hangs together.
You got a copy, Nigel?
The time now approaches for the gentlemen in IndyCar to start their engines.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
The circuit, 2.1 miles round, 77 laps in total. Emerson Fittipaldi too quick off the mark at the start. He led into turn 1, followed by Paul Tracy, but Mansell wasn't pleased by Fittipaldi's action. Neither was team manager Jim McGee.
Huh? What's he saying? What's Wally saying? 5 car is protesting this start. Come on, tell him I'm bitching. I'm protesting right now. Tell him.
And of course, we have a reversal after an appeal by the Newman-Haas team. Emerson Fittipaldi will be coming into the pits for the first stop and go of this race. That's what we're told officially. So he will be making a quick stop at the pits. And I can imagine how furious he will be.
He'll be very furious. Pit in here at Belle Isle is not a good one. It's a very tight right-hander, which of course makes them slow down enough so they don't break the speed limit. And Emmo's pit is the #1 pit right on pit entrance, but he'll be anxious to get back out and raise speed on the way out because he didn't come in and we didn't see a black flag shown there. So we'll wait and see officially what happens with Emerson Fittipaldi. Alonso Jr. looked like he was about to have a go.
And there's the in-car of Bobby Rahal.
You can hear the motor of Rahal going through the gears.
Paul Tracy so far waiting it out, trying to figure out what's going to happen. I'm sure there's a lot of debate going on between the Newman-Haas, the Penske teams, and the officials here as to what's going to happen to Emerson Fittipaldi.
Fittipaldi's race ended on lap 37, but the center of attention for the crowd remained the struggle between Nigel and Stefan Johansson.
Mansell followed, still hounded by Johansson.
These two have raced in Formula One together, of course. Now they're racing here together. Johansson has raced here in Detroit as a Formula One driver on the streets of the downtown circuit, and now raced here on Belle Isle Park in the Indy PPG World Cup.
Unser Jr. 6 seconds behind Tracy. Tracy a comfortable 2 3/4 of a second lead over Nigel Mansell.
You can see Alonso Jr. getting bashed around as he goes through those, with his head being bashed around as he hits those bumps on the apexes of those corners.
Well, Unser Jr. is not necessarily the most subtle of drivers, but he's a very tough driver. Oh, we have a spin. That's Fabi.
Trying to get by Harry Lyondike, goes down the inside.
Great move to retain control, and he basically loses only 1 position. Excellent.
Well, he loses 3 positions, but on a charge. Just got in a little...
And Johansson's making the move. Oh, on the inside, on the outside. That's what Mansell blocks him. Right behind there's Rahal.
That's what we call Formula One blocking, which has been brought into this series this year by Nigel Mansell. We're seeing a lot more of it by these drivers this year.
Alonso Jr. was the first one to learn that lesson at Long Beach. Right into the... Oh, somebody locks up. That's Johansson.
No, it's Mansell locking up in front of Johansson. But a lot of tire smoke coming up.
And that's really going to do some damage to those tires.
Bobby Rahal staying right in there with these guys. I wonder if he may not be better off just to lay back a couple of 100 yards.
He can. He's got Alonso Jr. right behind him. He won't let him rest. And behind Jr. is Danny Sullivan. Oh, my.
Let them all duel it out.
3 through 7 trying to define their positions right here. And the one holding the cards is Mansell, with Paul Tracy pulling ahead now 6 seconds ahead of these guys.
Lap 44, yellow flags out. Eddie Cheever trying to recover after a spin. Johansson attempted to pass Mansell, but it was not to be done under a caution, and Stefan hit Fabi's crash Lola, leaving Mansell in trouble as well.
Stefan overtook me on the yellow. You have reported it, Nigel. Yeah, not only that. He's giving me a puncher. I'm coming in. I got a puncher. I'm coming in. And we're ready. Open pit. Open pit.
The unscheduled pit stop dropped Nigel back from 2nd to 10th, with 2/3 of the race completed. With 8 laps remaining, Nigel had driven his way back up through the field to 6th. But avoiding a safety truck, Nigel was forced off the racing line with disastrous results. Race over for Mansell and his men. It was left to Danny Sullivan to claim his first win of the season, overcoming Alonso Jr.'s challenge. Robo-Cell came in 2nd. Mario Andretti was 3rd. Red 5 in need of some repair. Chicago bound to the repair shop for a meeting with the car doctor.
We're dragging on the ground too by now.
The 1993 Indycar World Series is turning up a different winner at nearly every single race. Danny Sullivan was the 5th different winner to take the checkered flag this year. 5 different drivers in 6 different races. Nigel, of course, the only driver to win 2, and he still leads the championship. The following week back in London, Nigel gave us a breakdown on the Detroit race.
I think the problem is that when you go from track to track and you've never actually been there and you haven't raced there before, you don't know what the track conditions are going to do, and the conditions from the morning warm-up to the afternoon change considerably. We obviously hadn't raced there or driven on that circuit, and the track conditions just moved far greater than we had anticipated. It went a lot hotter as well. It probably went 15 degrees hotter from the morning till the afternoon. And the car, I lost a lot of grip on the car, and the handling wasn't real good, as you sort of saw early on in the race. I couldn't sort of stay with the pace of the Penske's. They were working really well, and unfortunately there was a lot of accidents, mainly through the track was breaking up in places, and there was a couple of wreckers out on the circuit. And the situation that happened to me personally was I came around the one corner and was catching Mario at the end of the race, and I almost hit the wrecker truck, which sort of surprised me a little bit, moved me a little bit offline, and I never got back online. And the problem was the track there was breaking up too, and you probably saw with the in-car camera I had the wheels fully turned, but there was no grip, nothing, because I was already on the marbles, and it just took me straight into the wall. And it was a great shame and very disappointing, because I was at least assured of 5th or 4th or maybe even 3rd place. And you know, no points, you don't finish. And but the thing is, the nice thing is that we still lead the championship with a slender 3 or 4 points over Raul Boesel. So we'll go to the next race, which is more of a racetrack again, because that's medium fast as opposed to real slow like Detroit was.
Life never stops in the fast lane. It's only 3 days after Detroit, and Nigel has an important engagement at the RAC Club in London's Pall Mall. He was there to receive the prestigious Seagrave Trophy, awarded to him by Ford and the RAC for outstanding achievements in motor racing, winning the 1992 Formula One Championship.
This is what you take, the big one you don't.
Okay. You have to keep your hands on it.
Absolutely. It has to stay here.
Well, here we are at the RAC Club in Pall Mall, and I'm standing next to this fantastic award, the Seagrave Trophy. It makes me feel very, very proud indeed after all these years to receive a trophy of this magnitude. Unfortunately, though, alas, I can't take this one home. The one I actually am allowed to take home is this, which is very special too. But we'll just show you a quick glimpse of this, and there you have it. But it's a fantastic award. It's obviously sponsored by Ford, but you only have to go back over the history of this particular trophy, and it's second to none. So it's a great accolade, and with all the incredible assembled guests here today, from me to them and to you out there who's watching this program, many, many thanks for all the support.
Next stop, Madame Tussauds. One of Britain's most popular tourist attractions, the waxworks contain effigies of everyone who's anyone in public life. It's an exact science creating the likeness. The first problem was to make sure that the man of action was still long enough for the photographs and measurements to be taken. Back in September last year, after Nigel was confirmed as the Formula One World Champion for 1992, he was at Madame Tussauds, where the waxwork experts took notes. The detail has to be perfect. A minute error can ruin the whole effect. Now, spot the difference. Family approval of the finished product as it goes on display with the original. For once, it seems, Nigel had met his match.
Straight ahead, please, Nigel.
And for the photographers, a champagne moment of celebration. Back on home territory in the West Midlands for a visit to Birmingham University. Roseanne and the children were on hand to see Nigel receive an honorary doctorate in engineering from the Vice-Chancellor. Appropriate, because Nigel spent the early part of his working life as an engineer at Lucas, the huge car component manufacturer in Birmingham. Afterwards, the photographic industry received another boost as the world's press captured the first view of Dr. Nigel Mansell.
Can you actually come off there, Nigel?
Then it was off to the southwest in the new Mansell jet plane, capable of a transatlantic crossing. This was a short hop to Exeter Airport for a date at the Dartmouth Golf and Country Club, where Nigel's president. He works hard at this game. His handicap down in single figures. He's good enough to have been invited to appear in the Australian Open a couple of years ago. This round was less demanding, but still competitive against the club's owner, Ralph Hitchens.
Nigel, you and I are going to have a severe bust-up in a minute.
Now, did you get that? He's trying to tell me I'll put him off. But just to show you how generous I am, I'll give him 2 mulligans. He can have another mulligan. No, that's my ball.
It's my ball. I've lost mine.
Nigel's characteristic golf swing effective again. He's played on courses throughout the world. The Red 5 buggy, the fastest of all around this bumpy, demanding course.
It's great, this game, isn't it?
But he's the only person on the golf course that actually comes along with his aqualung. Otherwise, I have to say, he doesn't get past the 8th hole.
The ball, so all the time they'll have me on camera finding the ball.
The final putt, and another Mansell victory. Golf, the ideal game for someone involved in the hectic world of motorsport. Relaxed, but competitive. Mount Hood, 11,000 feet high, overlooking Portland, Oregon, in the northwest of the United States. Spectacular natural scenery in this part of the world, and some impressive man-made sights too. The Cascade Dam on the Columbia River, a source of power and water for the area. Set in splendid surroundings, Oregon is a state of breathtaking beauty. Portland's held Indycar races since 1984, but it's another unfamiliar circuit for Nigel to learn. Walking round the 1.95-mile 9-turn road course is the best way to become acquainted. There have been spectacular races at Portland over the years. Michael Andretti won for Newman Haas 12 months ago, completing a hat-trick of victories. Bobby Rahal, leading the championship at the time, had his first setback of the season. At the flag, Michael Andretti by 8.4 seconds from Emerson Fittipaldi. They're useful machines, these golf buggies. Here's Nigel on his way round a different type of course, this time to spot potential problem areas and possible overtaking points. This is what he discovered.
Okay, we're coming down the main straight, probably upwards of 200 miles an hour here, braking down from 6th gear down to 1st gear. 1st gear chicane, very tight, change of surface there from tarmac to concrete. As you can see, very, very tight left here now. Maybe taking a little bit of inside curve. Powering out in 1st gear, a lot of wheel spin. Up to 2nd gear, to 3rd. And powering around this small right-hander now in 3rd gear. Again, changing from concrete to tarmac. The reason I've done this section in concrete is that with the different temperature changes up here in Portland, and you can see what an incredible day it is today, it's 90 degrees, the track breaks up. The concrete, it doesn't break up so much. Coming in tight on the apex here, 4th gear, around about 150 miles an hour. Accelerating, and you're pulling over 4G round here. It's a very, very tight, very quick corner. Accelerating, this reminds me of the horseshoe, really, in Port Ricard, France. Sliding right out here, a lot of understeer in the car. Changing down to 3rd, and now powering around the 2nd part of the corner. You've done literally 180 degrees. This is one of the main straights. Vitally, vitally important. And look at the absolutely panoramic scenery as you come around this corner. There you have Mount Hood, I believe it is. And look how beautiful that is with the sun on it. You've got to hug the line into the wall here. Try not to pay too much attention as to the scenery. And as you come out here, I'm going to take the car now to the left to show you how long this straight is. And the car will be hugging the inside line by the concrete, but this is a good overtaking straight into a very fast corner down here. And there you have, ladies and gentlemen, superstar Paul Newman blowing us off down the straight. But he's smoking a little bit, so I think he might be blowing up shortly. Fabulous circuit, some really good overtaking positions, and vitally important how you set this car up this weekend. Because as you've seen, there's lots of corners, there's some slow corners, but there's some very fast sections, and then you've got these two long straights where it's so important to be quick down the straight. To be quick down the straight, you need a good pop-off valve, you need a good engine, but above all, you need a great balance on the car, so aerodynamically you can back the rear wing off so you can be quick down the straight. And that's what we're going to try and be achieving tomorrow.
Nigel was in fine form again. In the first qualifying session, he was pipped for provisional pole position by Emerson Fittipaldi by just 0.2 of a second. 24 hours later, the positions were reversed like this.
Accelerating down the straight upwards of 190, braking very hard in a minute into a right-hand hairpin, down to second, down to first now, into a tight left now, accelerating here, a lot of wheel spin, second, third, up to fourth, and now shifting, getting ready to change down to third, keeping very close to the apex on the right now. It's a double horseshoe, round again, sliding a little bit more, keeping it real tucked in, down to second, again tight, accelerating as quickly as I can out, second to third, and now down to second again, through here, sliding out a little bit over the curb on the left, to third, to fourth, and now up to fifth, and now we're accelerating very quick down here now, upwards of 200 miles an hour, getting set up for the end, down to fourth gear, and very quick through here now, over the curb, down, big twitch on the car, down to second gear, Fabi's in the way, just cleared him, accelerating down the straight again, second, third, fourth, and into fifth, and just hoping that's just quick enough.
You're P1, Nigel, no problem. You got P1, nobody can beat you.
Great work again for a man with a rare talent for the remarkable, his 4th pole position of the season so far.
Back him up. Back it up. Back him up.
Back him up. Well, what do you think of that then? I mean, if you were watching the times and the qualifying then, it was absolutely sensational. We got pole by just literally 1/10 of a second over Emerson. Stefan Johansson went very quick in the other Penske, and then Paul Tracy with the other Penske. Unbelievable track, very, very tight indeed, but exceedingly happy at this time.
In the press conference after qualifying, Nigel with a former F1 rival, Stefan Johansson.
We had a little bit of a battle to get down to the times that we did this morning, but we did a couple of downforce changes in the end, and he made the car more drivable, really. And you know, it was just it was really tight with the time in the end. There was only 5 minutes left to go, and I got the new set of tires on, so I just really went for it, and then we managed to squeeze one quick lap in.
What happened to me in Detroit when I crashed, I was disappointed, but then Nigel crashed as well. Right. And he didn't finish the race. Then the gap still the same as before Detroit between myself and Nigel. And I think that's still a long way to go. I mean, there's many drivers can win the championship, and have to be consistent.
Short of driving the car yourself, the best way to experience the thrill of high-speed competition is through the onboard camera. As we saw in the historical footage from the Indy 500, onboard cameras aren't new, but with technology becoming more and more sophisticated, the quality of these pictures is now near perfect from the lightweight cameras that are fitted to the various parts of the car.
We'll show up at the track and we'll outfit all the cars that have cameras, and then from the car there's actually a transmitter in each car, and we transmit up to a helicopter that acts as a satellite that has to hover over the track the whole time the cars are out there. And then anytime the cars are out there, we generally have the helicopter up, and then after it goes up to the helicopter, it'll go back down to our trailer. Well, we'll process it and send it over to the video truck, which will actually put it on the air. You know, the director can take it as a source, as if it was another camera around the track. But you have to use a helicopter in order to beam the signals back, because you don't have enough wire that you can actually hardwire the car around the track. This is the camera that sits in the wing that mounts on the side of the car. Everything that takes to operate the camera is actually built inside here. All the color processing, all the controls, so you can iris the camera up and down. It has a tape clear system in it. If you look real close on the, you can see there's like a Mylar tape. It's the same material they use in a driver's tear-off, and there's a reel of it inside the camera, and we can clear the dirt from in front of the camera. If you notice, when you first take cameras, a lot of times there's dirt there, and then you'll see it roll off, and that's just a system where the reel sucks the tape up. The camera is almost a standalone unit, and there's 2 of those in each car. In Nigel's car, you have the main camera, which is in the wing, and then there's a camera very similar to this in this box protected by heat material, and it does the exact same things. Each one could operate alone. After the video comes in from the camera, it's sent to a transmitter, and then from the transmitter it goes to the antenna, which is located in the front of the car, and this is the last step before it goes up to the helicopter. It broadcasts from here to the helicopter, and then on the bottom of the helicopter there's receive antennas, and once it hits the helicopter, then it'll bounce back down on another antenna, just like a regular satellite system, like your satellite TV. Danny Sullivan's car, he has a shot that shows you from right in front of the driver, a face shot that's mounted on the dashboard. And then he also has the main camera shot, which is the shot that's mounted over the driver's shoulder. And Bobby Rahal, for this race, will have the nose camera, which is mounted up on the front hatch, and you can just see the front of the car. And Scott Brayton will have a camera mounted on the side of the car. And Nigel will have his standard camera, which is over his shoulder and out the back of the car. Once the signal comes back down to the truck, the people in our trailer will adjust the video, and they'll watch each camera during the race to make sure, if it gets dirty, they'll, clear the tape off so it's clean. The director will call and say, switch to the back camera, switch to the front camera, and they'll listen to the director and make sure they have the shot the director wants. They'll adjust the audio. Just basically monitoring the cars and controlling them to keep them going, keep them looking good during the races.
Going into Portland, Nigel held a slender championship lead over Raul Boesel, with his teammate Mario Andretti third. Emerson Fittipaldi, the Indy 500 winner, and defending champion Bobby Rahal also in the top 5. Familiar scenes now, wherever Nigel goes on the racetrack. The fans flock to the circuit just to catch a glimpse of the world champion. Autograph hunters collect his signature, a highly prized possession. But always, time is tight when there's work to do.
Everything seems to be okay. We just checked the front out. Tyre pressures are very, very important at this racetrack. I figure that 1 psi in the tyres, up or down, can win or lose you the race here. That's how critical it is. Track conditions are moving all the time. Weather conditions could do anything at the moment.
Proving that his excellent form in qualifying was no fluke, Stefan Johansson was fastest in the warm-up on race morning. Emerson Fittipaldi 5th in the warm-up, but alongside Mansell on the front row. Another duel between the two expected from the green flag.
Drivers, take a lap. Start your engines. All right. Yeah.
It was a good start by Nigel Mansell. Fittipaldi close, Johansson third, Tracy fourth. Going into the first corner, Andretti, Smith, Sullivan, Gordon and Unser jockeying for position further back. Opening lap saw the two champions locked together, rarely as much as a second between them, and frequently very much less. Remorseless pursuit by Fittipaldi, but excellent driving by Mansell preserved his slender advantage. Behind these two, Johansson third, Tracy fourth, and the rest being left trailing. Great racing, two fine drivers in direct competition in the first quarter of the 102-lap race, with the Penske Chevrolet of Fittipaldi proving extremely competitive. 3 times Fittipaldi attempted to find a gap to pass Mansell, 3 times the world champion kept him at bay. This was superb racing between 2 men at the peak of their form. Lap 27, Nigel approaching the chicane under pressure from Fittipaldi. The brakes on the Lola working out of balance, and that meant a quick exit down the escape road, collecting a traffic cone on the way. A brief hold-up, a stop-and-go penalty for going straight on at the chicane. And out to rejoin in 4th place behind Fittipaldi, Tracy and Johansson. But Johansson's fine race ended 10 laps later when his car failed, the end of his best performance so far in Indycars. Mansell up to 3rd as the thunderclouds rolled down from the mountains and closed in ominously on the circuit. The pit crew rolled out the wet tyres in preparation for a sudden round of pit stops. Race leader Emerson Fittipaldi, one of the first to change from slicks to wets. A fine pit stop by the Penske team, though Fittipaldi lost the lead to teammate Paul Tracy and 2nd place to Nigel Mansell. Nigel gambled on staying out longer on slick tyres than anyone else, apart from Rahal, so he claimed 1st place, but not for long.
P1 plus 12. Plus 12. We'll keep an eye on Emerson. It's raining a little heavier now, Nigel. Coming in. I'm definitely coming in. Roger, we're ready for you. Gonna fuel put tires and take out some front wing. Take 2 much down. 0 your meter. 0 the meter.
Adjustments to the front wing, giving the car more grip. Meanwhile, Emerson Fittipaldi took over the lead again, pulling out a gap ahead of Paul Tracy, with Nigel Mansell running 3rd, but 7 seconds adrift. The conditions made following closely in the wake of another car very difficult. The forecast was for the rain to clear before the end of the 102 laps. Fittipaldi had driven brilliantly in the downpour and stretched his lead to 33 seconds. Nigel Mansell took over 2nd place from Paul Tracy, who made the wrong tyre choice, and that rekindled the prospect of a Fittipaldi-Mansell battle right to the checkered flag.
Okay, now Nigel's got to floor it and get as far back around as he can by the time Emo makes his pit stop.
And Emo has to be careful, of course, not to exceed that limit of 128 kilometers per hour in the pits.
Coming in carefully and slowly. Still got a tear off left. Changing all 4. There's the aerial view. Taking on fuel. That's a quick stop. 11 seconds, and Nigel is now approximately in turn 3. Approximately.
And now Emerson has to be careful coming in now. Very careful. These tires, no traffic around them, and he gets through, skidding a little bit, of course. And Mario makes his pit stop. Wipes his visor. No change in tires for Mario.
Mario staying on the wet weather tires, as we saw Paul Tracy did earlier too. We know Rahal has changed, Fittipaldi has changed. And now the guys that are running on the wet tyres, they come down the main straightaway here, they're sticking right to the pit lane wall where there's water to try and keep those tyres cool.
Late on, Brayton and Matsushita were stranded on the circuit, which brought out the yellows again. Everybody now back on slick tyres, but Fittipaldi had 9-lap cars between himself and 2nd place Nigel Mansell. It would take a monumental effort for Mansell to challenge in the closing stages. At the green, Mansell moving rapidly through the field, but Fittipaldi had the advantage of a clear track, while Nigel was negotiating the back markers. By the time Mansell saw daylight, Fittipaldi had a 9-second lead. That closed to 4 seconds at the checkered flag, but the victory was Fittipaldi's, Emerson's 2nd win of the season after the Indy 500. Nigel Mansell picking up 16 points for 2nd position. At the end of a grueling race, a mutual exchange of congratulations after a monumental battle. So effectively, the championship lead was increased to 14 points over Raul Boesel, 7th at Portland. But Fittipaldi is now 3rd and bang in form and enjoying his racing with the prospect of more to come should more top stars from Formula One decide to go transatlantic.
It's the best series in the world now, it's the most competitive series in the world. I'm sure not just Nigel, but Senna is looking for the future to come here. Nelson trying the naps, he was unfortunate, had the crash. I spoke to Alain Prost a year ago, and Alain is looking for the future to come here possible. I think it's a very attractive series, the most competitive in the world. We all like a challenge, like Nigel. You know, being the defending world champion, being racing with us is great for the series, it's great for the sport, it's great for the fans.
Emerson drove a flawless race. Poor Tracy was a little unlucky, I pipped him for second, which obviously makes me happy, and I split the Penske's, but we were struggling, we really were to be on the pace today, but reasonably happy. We've extended our lead just a few points in the championship, but there's no question the Penske's are going to be the challenge for the championship, and we've got to work really hard these next few weeks now. I feel very, very happy. At one time I didn't know whether I was going to get in the first 3, so you know, it's a bit of a bonus today.
So what a month it's been for Nigel Mansell and the Newman Haas team. The familiarization process with all areas of the IndyCar scene has continued with great success. The 3rd place, first time out at the daunting Indianapolis Motor Speedway, impressed many but surprised few. Here was a true racer who could adapt incredibly quickly to any racetrack, leaving many far more experienced drivers in his wake. The Milwaukee victory characterized Nigel's determination to master the new challenge, that last dash with Raul Boesel to the checkered flag, quashing any suggestion that Mansell couldn't adapt to the idiosyncrasies of IndyCar. That's not to say that there haven't been some fleeting problems. Detroit proved that any racer must always expect the unexpected and not lose it on the marbles. But with true professionalism, Nigel continued to look forward, never dwelling on that misfortune. The hard-fought 2nd place at Portland, testament to that. So, 7 races into the series, Nigel leads the championship, and the IndyCar title not too early to speculate.
If someone would have said to me last year, about the same time as I'm talking to you now, oh, you'll be an IndyCar racing next year, won't you? And at that time last year I'd already won 5 races. I would have said, what on earth are you talking about? You know, it's the furthest thing from my mind. But here I am talking to you now, and I am in IndyCar racing. And what will be next year will be, I mean, I'm in negotiations now to stay in America, but they haven't been concluded, and they probably won't be concluded for some time. As for Formula One, yes, there's opportunities and people are talking to me, but all I'm doing at the moment is listening.
The season reaches the halfway stage on the airstrip at Cleveland. Catch up with that and the latest entries into Nigel Mansell's IndyCar diary next time. From me, Nicky Horn, goodbye till then.
Oh, well, we've overtaken one person already. Here we go now. We're up to another one. Which way the corner goes? Oh yeah, we jumped in front of him. Oh good, got the hang of it now. Might catch somebody else up. Oh no! No! Oh, we got away with it. Oh, we didn't get away with it. Well, let's hope next week my starting position will be better than the one we've just had today.